So my wife and I have been watching a lot of horror movies lately. I don't know if that's just because there's a lot of them out right now, or if we're super into them, maybe some of both, but it got me thinking. I'm like, okay, maybe we should look into some of the actual real life stories that inspired a lot of these classic horror movies. A lot of the time, the real life story is actually more terrifying than the, Hollywoodified horror movie. So today we're going to be looking at some of the examples of the real life events that inspired some of everyone's favorite horror movies and books. We're going to be looking into some of those as well. Let's get into today's list. We're going to be looking at possibly the most classic example of a horror movie, The Exorcist. This was a movie so terrifying that there were reports of people fainting in the theaters when they went to go see it. This one is a good one. We're going to look into the real life story of Roland Doe, the boy who this movie was based off of. In 1949, Roland Doe actually underwent real exorcisms done by Catholic priests. There were reports of furniture flying around the room and the boy speaking in Latin, which he didn't actually know. Again, there were reports from the priests about things flying around the room, furniture moving, the boy speaking in a strange, not just language that he didn't know, but in a tone, voice that he wasn't believed to be capable of making. Although the movie kind of fantasized the whole thing, the real meat and potatoes of the movie are based on true events. That's crazy. The Roland Doe name of the boy here is kind of a pseudonym just to protect his real identity. He doesn't want to be affiliated with what happened to him. It was believed that they finally, after several exorcisms, they did get everything evil out of this boy, and he did go on to lead a totally normal life. It's believed he's still out there living his best life, so hopefully he's good and has been okay since. The next one on our list today is the Amityville Horror. Now, my wife and I have actually been to the Amityville house. You can't go inside it or anything. It's all fenced off and it's got security cameras. I'll put a picture here somewhere if I can find it, but yeah, we stood right out in front of it. It looks just like a normal house. It's really crazy to think of all the terrifying things that actually really did go on inside of this house. Now, again, the movie with Ryan Reynolds is pretty damn good, but it was based on these real events. The story takes place in 1975, where the Lutz family moved into a Long Island house where just earlier in that year, Robert DeFeo Jr. went through and murdered his entire family while they slept. Shortly after they moved in, the Lutzes were all plagued by what they believe were strange apparitions, voices, and shadows, all going on inside of their home. Now, the house located on 108 Ocean Avenue in Long Island has been continuously occupied since the Lutz family's terrible incident went down. So the Conjuring movie series, saga maybe, is possibly one of the most well-known movie series in the horror genre. I have gone with my wife to see all of them as they've come out since we've been together, so she's definitely a fan of them. Ed and Lorraine Warren themselves, they do have a little bit of some drama around them. It's said that maybe they weren't as honest as they said they were, or maybe they had issues with their own marriage, and we're just going to talk about the house, though. You've probably heard of these names. If you even watch horror at all, you've definitely heard of them before. They were real-life paranormal investigators and a couple. The 2013 Conjuring movie, the first one, is actually based on one of their most notorious cases, taking place in Rhode Island in the 1970s. Follows the Perrins family, and it depicts their terrifying house where they experienced apparitions, voices, shadows, and levitating items. The Warrens believed that a 19th century witch actually cursed the grounds that the farmhouse was built on, and the events were intense enough to inspire a movie and a blockbuster franchise since then. That's pretty crazy. I don't mess with witches, man. Witches are crazy. Regular ghosts, those little betas. Witches, though, those are on another level. Yeah, you don't mess with witches. All right, next on our list is the Annabelle movie from 2014. This is another Ed and Lorraine Warren story. This doll is not nearly as creepy as they made it out to be in the movie, but she is very real. She is actually a Raggedy Ann doll, and while dusty and definitely pretty dirty, wasn't a maniacal axe-wielding murderer that the movie made her out to be, but doll is still believed to be positively charged by this entity, this demon possibly, and it is locked in a glass box which stays inside of the Warrens Occult Museum in Monroe, Connecticut. The movie definitely took creative rights with this one, but the family that owned the doll experienced all kinds of terrifying things. The doll would move around the room, would change positions, and was even told to be speaking to the family members that owned her. Definitely a very creepy doll. If my doll's moving around the house, you're out of here. Nah, we ain't doing that. If you're gonna move around and flick on the lights and stuff like that, you're gonna pay rent, all right? There's no free residing here. But this doll is actually on a nationwide tour right now. She actually just left San Antonio, where I'm at, a couple of weeks ago. I think she was in Louisiana before that, and who knows where the hell else before that. But yeah, she's making a tour around the US, and I don't know if she's still doing it as of this video coming out, but maybe you can go see her. Otherwise, go to the museum and catch her and all kinds of other crazy Warren stuff at their museum. But yeah, based on a real life event. The next one on our list is Wolf Creek. Now this movie hits hard because it's based on two real life serial criminals and murderers in Australia. Now this is an Australian movie, so that's probably why I've never actually seen it. I've heard of it, but I've never seen it. But it is a brutal film about backpackers who are hunted in the Australian outback. And unfortunately, this is kind of what happened in real life as well. Ivan Malay was known to kill at least 7 backpackers in remote areas, and then as well as Bradley Murdoch, who was convicted of killing a British tourist. Both of these guys attacked people in the middle of nowhere, out in remote areas, and so that is what inspired the movie Wolf Creek, was unfortunately the real life Wolf Creek type shit. The 6th movie on our list is the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but the real life guy and events that inspired this movie also inspired Silence of the Lambs and Psycho. So 3 different movies inspired off of this one real life psychopath. Ed Gein was a murderer and grave robber who, although he only murdered 2 people, had a strange dark fascination with human taxidermy. And when police eventually raided his home, they found a bowl made out of a skull and a belt made out of areolas, let's just say. This actual real life psychopath, again, was only known to kill 2 people, but he made good use out of the skin of those 2 people. 3 movies based on this one dude. Pretty crazy. The Silence of the Lambs is actually scary for a different reason. Texas Chainsaw Massacre and, Silence of the Lambs are very different, scary movies, but they're both pretty terrifying. All right, now we're going to cover some horror books, which are based on real life events. In Cold Blood by Truman Capote is a chilling book that isn't just a horror, but a true crime. In 1959, the Clutter family was brutally murdered in their rural home in Kansas. Capote's book walks through the crime, the killer's psychology, and the aftermath of the events. It has a way of being intimate and haunting that it actually feels like fiction, and that's the scary part, is it is not. Before the Exorcist movie, there was an Exorcist book, which was written by William Peter Blatty. The one major thing that differs from the movie and the book, however, is that the author pulls directly from eyewitness interviews, hospital records, and priest interviews. So it has that realism to it that the movie takes the events and runs with them, and it does what Hollywood does, but the book actually is terrifying because it talks directly to the people involved and gives it to you in the form of a book. I'm trying to get more into reading because I'm bad about it. It's a lot easier to stare at my phone before bed than it is to read a book, but I really want to get into reading more. At least ebooks. But I drive a lot for work, and so, but yeah, it's terrifying because of how intimate it gets you with the events that went down with this Roland Doe. The Amityville Horror movie also has a book, but it's written by Jay Anson. Now, Jay has a way of writing his book where it puts you right in the center of the events along with the Lutz family. That gives you an entirely new perspective of what they experienced in this, so-called haunted home. Again, books just get you a little bit closer to the events, and Jay does a good job of putting you right in the center of what the Lutzes experienced. The book Helter Skelter, written by Vincent Bugliosi, is a terrifying recount of Charles Manson and how he recounts how he made his family commit atrocious, horrifying murders, some of the most renowned in American history. This includes the murder of actress Sharon Tate. Vincent Bugliosi was not just the author of the book, but he was an actual prosecutor on the case. So this book isn't just written as a psychological horror, it's written as a courtroom drama because the events actually happened as he witnessed them. It's a really crazy book that gets you right into the center of the real events of Charles Manson. It's terrifying. Definitely going to be adding this one to my ebook list for sure. The next book on the list is not for the faint of heart at all. It is called The Girl Next Door and is written by Jack Ketchum, not Ash Ketchum, but Jack Ketchum. The novel is a fictionalized retelling of the abuse, torture, and murder of Sylvia Likens. In the book, a young girl is tortured by a woman and the woman's children. What really gets you isn't just because it's terrifying, but it's the brutality of what happened to her. It's based on a true story, which is even worse. Sylvia's case remains one of the most disturbing crimes in US history. Again, not for the faint of heart. I'll probably be checking this one out as well. The topic of it is extremely unsettling, so just so you know. Imagine a World's Fair and a serial killer. That is the topic of Eric Larson's nonfiction, The Devil in White City. H.H. Holmes is believed to be America's very first serial killer. The glamorous 1893 World's Fair in Chicago is where this book takes place, right in the middle of H.H. Holmes' murderer spree. Holmes built a hotel with trapdoors, secret rooms, dangerous hallways, and acid vats that he used to get rid of his victims. This book is part history, part horror, but 100% based on real events. The last book that we have on our list is just simply titled Room, and it is written by Emma Donoghue. Inspired by the Joseph Fritzl case in Austria, the book follows the story of a woman held captive for years and the son that she raised in complete isolation. Although the book itself is fictional, it does tie into real-life events and highlights the emotional horror of long-term captivity on an individual. Definitely a scary one. Horror hits a little bit differently when you realize the real events that inspired it. Sometimes real, sometimes just dabbing in the realism of it, but the fact that real people went through actual terrifying events to inspire the movies that we go pile in and eat popcorn to is crazy. There is a scary side to the scary side of cinema. But with that being said, guys, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. Be safe out there. Drink water, be safe. Say thank you to Alexa before she takes over the world, and I will see you in the next video.
There's no